The length of the antenna is based on the radio transmission frequency and the type of antenna. For a dipole antenna, the length of the antenna is half the wavelength of the frequency. On a vertical antenna, the length of the antenna is a quarter of the wavelength of the frequency. For a directional beam antenna, the main driver is half the wavelength of the frequency. Dipole antennas are most commonly used because they are simple and effective. Dipoles can be simply a horizontal wire with a connector in the center for the feed point coax from the receiver. The radiating wire is typically attached to a rope and then to supports at two ends. Plastic insulators are placed between the rope and the wire. The higher the dipole antenna can be placed, the better for the reception. The wire, which is the radiating element, does not have to be straight. It can bend if necessary, but should not be close to metal objects. Dipoles are usually horizontal, but it can be vertical, V-shaped, even sloped to direct transmission in one targeted direction. Vertical antennas are also called ground plane antennas. They provide a low angle of radiation with a path closer to the contour of the Earth's surface and less loss to the sky. They are good for long-distance contacts. They are omnidirectional, spreading the transmission evenly in all directions. They have a single element and only need a quarter wavelength in height. Vertical antennas need conduction on the ground to mirror the antenna. That is, they need a reflective surface on the bottom half. In a vehicle mount, the top of the car is the reflector. On a ground install, wires can be laid on the ground extending from the base of the antenna in all directions. These radial wires on the ground need to be a quarter wavelength in length also. For a permanent installation, the wires are buried just under the grass. You can see the wires on the ground in this photo extending from the antenna. Directional beam antennas are called high-gain antennas. They are essentially a horizontal dipole with more elements in front and behind the main element of the antenna. They have more gain in a targeted direction. The added element is in front of the main driver, is called the director, and behind the main driver, the element is called the reflector. There are many types of directional beam antennas. Yagi, square, cubical quad are some types. Beam antennas are designed for half wavelength on the main driver.